Welcome back to Grit City Tales, podcast brought to you by the Humane Society for Tacoma and Pierce County. I'm Mary.
And I'm Maggie.
And together we're amplifying the untold stories of pets and the people who love them right from the heart of Pierce County, Washington. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back.
So today we're going to talk about something that impacts both our community as far as the people, but also the pets. And that is, we're going to be talking about hunger, food insecurity, and this is in part because May 28th is World Hunger Day, and the Emergency Food Network invited us to participate in their hunger walk that was held Saturday, May 4th at Fort Steilacoom Park, and it was great because we were able to see everyone come together to try to help those being faced with either food insecurity or just struggling to be able to, afford food for themselves, maybe their animals. We were there to talk about our pet food pantry program, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But hunger is something that is very prevalent in the news right now, I feel like. People,
especially with inflation, I feel like every person has experienced this recently or at one point in their life.
Yeah.
And, here on Feeding America's website, in 2021, there were over 76,000 people facing food insecurity in Pierce County. And, Maggie, how would you define food insecurity?
So food insecurity, for those of you that may not be familiar with the term, or for those of you just looking to see, what does this mean? Food security is the state of having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. The availability of food for people of any class, gender, or religion is another element of food security. So when someone is suffering from food insecurity, it means they're not having access to this nutritious or just enough food to support them.
A reliable source.
Yeah.
3 meals a day and, be able to eat when they're hungry.
Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of people are in a position, whether it's Pierce County or, much broader throughout the world, there are a lot of people that don't know where their next meal is coming from. And that is something that is a kind of a sad reality to think about. And we're seeing it when it comes to people struggling to feed their pets. So that's kind of where we're going to go today, is talking a little bit about the broader issue of food insecurity among people, but also how that trickles down. And we're seeing issues from our community that our shelter is trying to help with.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is why we have our pet food and supply pantry here at the Humane Society for Tacoma and Pierce County, because we don't want any animal to go hungry.
The stat that Mary just mentioned about how there were over 76,000 people facing food insecurity in Pierce County, that was in 2021, and prices have only gone up. Inflation has made things even more difficult for people.
Post-pandemic.
Yeah, and so I can only imagine that those numbers have increased.
Absolutely.
Which is really unfortunate that number has to increase. While we may not have the exact numbers of where we're at in Pierce County as far as those facing food insecurity, based on some research that we were doing for today's talk, food bank leaders around the county have been saying, kind of without giving the exact numbers, just that they are seeing an increase in the food bank usage, and that more than 1 in 10 county residents struggle daily with having enough food to eat. And that's something that you think it's in another state, in another country, but it's right here in our backyard.
Absolutely. And a lot of residents and community members have to make that difficult decision of whether to feed themselves or their pets. And here at the Humane Society, we don't want them to have to make that decision. And so we do have a pet food and supply pantry where, any community member can walk in, they fill out a very simple, not even an application, just a information gathering form, and get food for their pet that day. And we supply about a month's worth of food for your pet, depending on, the weight of the dog, how many cats you have. We have treats, we have wet food. We try to have litter when we can. And we have no requirements when it comes to income. If you need food, we're going to give it to you. But we do require that pets are spayed and neutered. And that means that we will also help you with spay and neuter resources, how we can assist, because our goal is to reduce overpopulation of pets. And we want you to be able to get your pet in the best healthy position possible, and that is by being spayed and neutered. So
yeah, and we don't want surprises to happen for both the pet overpopulation element, but also for whatever individual is already kind of going through a tough time and maybe struggling to feed themselves and their pets. When a surprise litter of puppies or kittens comes along, that is a huge expense in and of itself.
And I know you've experienced that.
Yes.
And your dog that had puppies on accident didn't feed those puppies.
She came to me already pregnant and I didn't know. So it was an extra surprise, and yeah, it costs a lot for just the supplies to keep them clean and fed. And then even if she were to have been a more attentive mom that could feed them on her own, making sure that she had enough food to be able to feed the babies, that's something that a lot of people, especially now it's spring and summer, they are having these surprises. And it is a big expense to properly care for all those little lives.
We're seeing a lot of increase in trends here at the Humane Society within our pet food bank as well. In May 2022, we had about 131 visits, resulting in about 3,200 pounds of food given. But recently, April of 2024, we haven't finished May yet, April 2024, we had 276 visits, resulting in almost 9,000 pounds of food given. That means that tripled the amount of food we've given out and doubled the amount of visits. That's wild.
In just 2 years.
Just 2 years, post-pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the numbers were. I've been here in this position for about 2.5 years now. I don't necessarily know what the numbers were pre-pandemic. The Pet Food Pantry has been kind of a staple in our community here at the, operating out of the shelter for many, many years. But the increase in usage has just seemed to grow exponentially in the past couple of years.
Yeah, and I've been here about 4 years, and I remember, the pantry was definitely used. It was definitely utilized, but our goal in outreach is to spread awareness. And so it may not be that there's an increased need per se, but an increased awareness of the Pet Food Pantry, which is a huge positive in my mind.
Yeah, I guess regardless of if it's just more visibility or there is more need, either way, if people are coming to us to help be able to feed their pets, that's our goal, is just to help people and their pets. That
truly.
Yeah, we don't want animals to have to come to the shelter, so if we can keep it in a loving home,
that's what we want. And we also have supplies.
So along the lines of outreach, we've also been doing some more events to bring supplies and food to those that are needing it. So we have
locations.
We have our Pet Food Pantry here that operates out of the shelter every Wednesday and Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. that people can come in and sign up to be a user of the Pet Food Pantry with just filling out that information sheet. But then we've also been trying to get out into the community for those areas that need some extra support. I know, Mary, a few weeks back, you went to a new location that we haven't been to before. Tell us a little bit about that.
Unhoused veterans village down the road, and it was quite the eye-opening opportunity to see, how people are living every day, and what a world we live in. That veterans and unhoused is in the same sentence, but I was really grateful to be able to provide, food, treats. We provided spay-neuter vouchers to help assist with their pets' wellness. And in surgeries. So that was a really great opportunity to get into the community that we're working with and serving. Oftentimes, getting to the shelter for food is even a barrier. We don't want that to be a barrier. And so what we are trying to do is get more into the community and serve the people where they're at.
Yeah, we've been participating in the rescue mission down the road in their empowerment days for, it must be about 6 months now.
Yeah, more than
at
that,
least.
I think.
Yeah, it was maybe the fall of 2023 we were invited to come participate in their empowerment days, which are once a month. They have the opportunity for those who are in need of the resources offered at the mission. They can come and get like a haircut. They can get connected with maybe a phone or get support getting signed up for medical care, all kinds of resources. And they included us in that to be able to help the people there that have pets that, might need a new collar, a leash, some food for their pets. And even though we're just down the street, I'm not sure the actual mileage. I don't know, maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles down the street. That's a long walk for some people.
With dog food in your hand on the way back, that's a lot.
Pet food, sometimes with, they're taking their pets too. So their pets are walking along with them. And so like you were saying, sometimes the barrier is just that they can't get to the resources. So us at our shelter with our pet food pantry, 2 miles may not be much for people that have access to transportation, but for someone who is needing to walk everywhere, even with their animals too, that can be difficult. So being able to go to the rescue mission and bring food and supplies, it's been really great, and kind of like your experience saying that it was eye-opening. It's definitely, it's kind of heart-wrenching and heartwarming going there, because you see that the people really love their animals and they want to, their animals are their world.
Yeah, and income does not equate good pet ownership.
Yeah.
I want to say that again. Income does not equate good pet ownership. And I was at the Animal Care Expo this past week in San Antonio, Texas, and I was in a course, Community Outreach 101, and I think it was 82% of pet guardians just have not reached out to a local resource, a pet resource, just because they may not know about it, they may not have access to it, or it may be that pride aspect, not being able, not wanting to ask for help. And so for me, if someone walks through the pet food pantry doors, no questions asked at first visit, you get that food.
Yeah.
And then, furthermore, we might ask about spay-neuter and how we can assist you and educate you on the importance of spay-neuter. I never want it to feel like a interrogation.
Yeah, no, and that's, a lot of our pet food pantry users, we get to know them. We get to know their animals kind of via the stories they tell us as they're coming and picking up food. And like you said, just because they're needing to get some assistance providing food for their animals doesn't mean that they're a bad pet owner by any means. These people are doing what they can to keep their pets, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
we're here to help.
I'll tell you, I work here, and at one point a couple years ago, my cat needed this special diet food to be able to not throw up every day, and I needed help. Nobody can afford $100, $200 expense right off the bat, and so I understand. It's a tough world out there. Yeah.
If you're in a position where you might be able to help someone experiencing food insecurity, whether it's at a local food bank for people or through helping us with our pet food pantry, our pet food pantry is supplied from donations in the community, and we take basically any food as long as it's unopened and not expired.
Yep.
And that goes to keeping pets with their people.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Yeah, and that includes, treats. That includes wet food when we have the opportunity to give it out. We are able to provide kind of what we get in. And the community really showed up for us a couple months back when we had a plea for our pet food pantry needing dry dog food. And they showed up in in an amazing way. And so we've been able to give out dog food and not have to worry about running out of it the last couple months, which a while, prior to about March when we had that influx of donations, it was kind of like...
It was daily. Every day I was like, oh gosh, are we going to have enough food for this Wednesday opening or this Saturday shift? We were facing our own food insecurity about being able to serve others. And our community shows up. That's the one thing about Gritty Tacoma is they show up.
Yeah, and so whether it's dog or cat, puppy or kitten food, we're just grateful.
Yeah, I see a lot on the donation receipts, like, I wish I could give more. I wish I could give more. I'm like, every pound is helpful, truly. We really appreciate it, and we love being able to have options for people that come to our pantry. We got wet food or dry food. What do you want?
Yeah, and that's nice. I mean, our volunteers also are amazing, and they built a relationship with all of the people that come. They
show up every shift. They serve the community, and we appreciate that.
Definitely. And if that's something even you're maybe interested in doing, we can always use people for our pet food pantry. So maybe if someone's unable right now to, financially contribute, whether it be a monetary donation or buying food to contribute to the pet food pantry, if this is something you kind of feel called to do and participate in your community, going and volunteering your time at a human food bank or our pet food pantry or the others in the area, that's definitely something that can benefit, kind of fill your soul and help.
Yeah. Come talk with us. Remember, I'm Mary.
And I'm Maggie. Yeah. We're not that scary.
No, we're not. And we want to meet you and your dogs and your cats. So come say hi to us. We would love to see, how we can help you or you can help us. Now we are entering our new segment, is how we made happy happen this week. And so this segment is essentially just updating you on any stories that went out, any really happy happenings, anything that we want to share that just, brightens the mood for the end of the podcast.
We've just been talking about some heavier subject matter dealing with people and pets experiencing food insecurity. So here are some happy stories to kind of end on a high note here. Some include an adoption update and also an update on our kitten shower.
Yeah,
Mary,
the kitten shower.
Let's hear these good updates.
We talked about this in episode 2, I believe, our kitten shower that we hosted the entire month of April. And we wanted to provide an update on what y'all made happen. So 2024 kitten shower, we received over 1,700 items and nearly $10,000 in donations to help the thousands of kittens in our care each year. We'd like to extend a special thank you to our sponsors. Your support for these tiny, vulnerable babies is truly appreciated. Throughout the year, we'll need assistance for these little tiny kittens. So if you want to take a look at our Amazon wish list or make a donation on behalf of the kittens, it's never too late.
Yeah, I think there were I went down to the foster room yesterday and there were multiple cages with kittens. And I think they have, don't quote me foster team, but 200 kittens in foster at this point.
I mean,
and
gosh,
it's only May.
It's got to be more than that. But if you have kitten fever like I do, you could also foster kittens. We always need those. It's so much fun. You bring kittens into your house, and then once they become terrible teenagers, you can bring them back.
They'll go find someone else to love and terrify with their ninja antics.
I know, right? And then we also have a really great update on Quincy, one of our long-stay residents. Maggie, can you share?
Well, speaking of foster, we have fosters for kittens, obviously, but we also are always in need of dog fosters. Mm-hmm. And Quincy is a dog that just kind of struggled in the shelter environment, which is kind of to be expected. This environment isn't
not unheard of.
Isn't as cozy and calm as a home. And so one of our dog walkers, who is actually also a foster parent, they had him for about a year, or he'd been in our shelter care for about a year. So in between coming into the shelter and then into foster homes, he'd been with us for a while, just waiting for his right fit, mm-hmm. his family. And great update that this past week he was actually adopted by the foster home that has had him since about early March. They decided they just felt like he was he was theirs, you know.
Yeah.
Foster failing is nothing to be ashamed of. That's what we call it when you decide to keep one of your fosters. And so he is living his best life. He's even been given the nickname of Sweet Potato, which is amazing to see a dog that was so kind of shut down and scared and stressed in a shelter environment to have had an experience in a foster home, to show his true personality and to get the name Sweet Potato. And, you know,
So we're really grateful for that.
and if you feel like you're looking for an animal to add into your life, you know, you're welcome to swing by the shelter and just see if there are any that kind of speak to you. We also have many in foster right now that you can email the foster team. If you go on their profile on our website under adoptable animals, we have many in foster that they're wonderful. They don't do well in a shelter environment. So that's something else that, you know, to keep in mind when you're looking to add a new animal family member. You can definitely come swing by the shelter, but also take a look at our website and see the many wonderful pets that are in foster right now. And then if you can coordinate with the foster team to be able to do meet and greet so that you could get to see kind of the animals in their more natural environment and show their true personalities.
Yeah, absolutely. And we really appreciate y'all joining us today. We post episodes every other Thursday, so come back and listen soon. I know my parents are listening, which is a big, big...
All the way down in South Carolina. You know, we talked about fostering and volunteering and all of that, but also just if you enjoyed this episode, even if you just want to support the podcast and subscribe, share it with others, or leave a rating and review, you know, we'd appreciate that as well.
If you have any questions that you'd like us to answer on a future episode, go to our website at thehumanesociety.org/podcast and submit your questions. To catch all the latest from the Humane Society for Tacoma and Pierce County, check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Tacoma Humane. See you next time.
Bye, guys.